In this video, we're going to be tackling the LeetCode question, word search. Word search is your entrance to the world of path exploration. Pretty much the easiest path exploration problem that you could find. And path exploration is used everywhere in computer programming. Think about it. You need to find a path in a map. You need to find the shortest path. A network topology. You're trying to find the shortest path in a network topology. And those are graphs. But we could also apply these path exploration strategies to matrices, which is what we're about to do. But there's many different ways that we could go about this. I'm just going to briefly outline which ways. The first way, and the way that we're going to use today, is going to be good old-fashioned DFS. It's the simplest, and it's also the most appropriate in this scenario. DFS is very similar to going to Walmart. When you go to Walmart, you're trying to get in, you're trying to get out. You're trying to find what you need, and you're trying to get out of there as quickly as possible, because the people that shop at Walmart pretty much are the equivalent of modern day zombies. And we also have breadth first search. Breadth first search is the exact opposite. Breadth first search is like going to the Louis Vuitton store. You're going to explore everything level by level. You're going to go through all of those bags and you're going to look at everything because it's an experience and you want to savor it. But today, we're definitely trying to get in and get out as quickly as we can. But there's one thing that we also have to talk about, and that's backtracking. Backtracking is pretty much the way that it sounds. Let's say that I'm at Walmart and I'm trying to find a fish bubbler. Last time that I was at Walmart, I was actually looking for a fish bubbler. And when I was searching for it, I had a difficult time finding it. They're actually pretty hard to find. If you're trying to look for a fish bubbler at a Walmart, you're going to be searching for a while. And I went through things like the food aisle, and then I went back, and then I went to the sports aisle. Then I went into the, let's say, the health aisle. And each time that I found out that I was in the wrong area, guess what I did? I went back. And I went back and kept searching until I finally found the bubble box, where I promptly got out of there as quickly as I could to make sure that I didn't get shot. So in order to solve this algorithm, we're just going to start off simple. Let's take a look at what we're given. We're going to be given a string, and we're going to be given a matrix. And our job is to find where that string exists in the matrix via path exploration. And we're going to use depth first search and backtracking. But all depth first search problems using matrices start off with this pattern. They start off with a nested for loop. A nested for loop seems counterintuitive, but worst case scenario, we're going to have to search every single element because the start of this word could start at the very end. Although it's not very likely, it could possibly happen. So we do have to use a nested for loop to search through every single element. And as we're searching through every single element with this nested for loop, what we're going to do is we're going to try to find the start of the word. How exactly are we going to do that? What we're going to do is we're going to build our own index. We're going to build an index with an integer. And I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. But this index is going to start at the very first character. And we're going to compare this character to the word that we are at in our very first iteration, which in our case is the very first element. And congratulations, this is a very easy example, by the way. We found a match. So what's going to happen is we're going to start our depth first search with backtracking algorithm. Depth first search algorithms are very similar to robotic vacuum cleaners. A robotic vacuum cleaner is going to move throughout your house searching for dirt, going down, up, right, and left. And it's also going to do so in a recursive pattern. whenever it finds something, it's also going to repeat this pattern. And it's going to do so in a recursive fashion, very similar to an MC Escher painting. If you don't know who MC Escher is, he's a famous artist who makes these paintings that kind of spiral in on themselves. And that's exactly what this algorithm or what this robotic vacuum cleaner is going to do as it searches for the next letter. Speaking of which, we found the start of our word. Now what we need to do, we need to move our index over and start searching for the B, the next character. And you guessed it, our robotic vacuum cleaner is going to move throughout, going down, up, right, and left. That's exactly what we'll do. Down, up, right. And when we go right, we find the B. But before we go over and before we start searching for that B, we need to mark this visited, because this robotic vacuum cleaner is going to go all over the place. And we need to make sure that it's not revisiting the same path, because that wouldn't make sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat. We're going to move our index over to the next letter. We're going to search for C, and we're going to go down, up, right. We're going to find our C, mark this visited. And as you probably guessed, we're just going to repeat this process. This is a pretty simple example because it starts off at the very first element with the very first character that we need, and it's connected throughout. So we really don't have to do any backtracking until we get to the end. The reason that we're going to have to backtrack at the end is because this is recursive, and we designed it with backtracking in mind. And recursion is pretty much like an airplane. When an airplane goes up, it must come down. An airplane can't just magically bail out in the sky. If you bail out in an airplane, you're going to die. And recursion, if we did all of that recursion, we're gonna have to go back. And that's exactly what's going to happen. As we go back, we're going to mark things as unvisited. And when we mark them as unvisited, what's going to happen is that we're eventually just going to get to the very end, right exactly where we started. And we're going to empty back out into our nested for loop with true, which is what we want. But here's the thing. This is a very easy case. Let's talk about a scenario where we're going to have to use backtracking when we don't find the word that we want, which is way more likely. So I've went ahead and I've changed the string that we've been given. Instead of A, B, C, C, E, D, we're going to work with S, E, E. And we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time we're not going to get off so easy because the very first element is not the beginning of the path that we want. We're going to have to keep iterating. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to iterate through the first row. Then what's going to happen is we're going to start iterating through the second row. But when we iterate through the second row, we find a match. We find what we want. So what are we going to do? We're going to go ahead, mark this visited, and our robotic vacuum cleaner is going to begin searching for the E. So we're going to move that index over, and we're going to go down, up, right. And when we move right, we find what we want. So we're going to go ahead, mark this visited, and the robotic vacuum cleaner is going to keep doing the same thing. It's going to go down, up, right. And we can't go left because we already visited that one. And when we do that, what we're going to find is that we don't find any matches. So just like the airplane did before, remember, when an airplane goes up, it must come down. Our recursion has to empty back out into the iteration, back into the nested for loop. And that's exactly what's going to happen. We're just going to dump our function, dump our recursive algorithm back out. And it's going to go right back into the nested for loop where it's going to begin searching once again. And as we go back, we're going to mark all of those unvisited. And as it keeps searching, what's going to happen is it's going to find another path. And just like before, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, I'm sure you guys know what's going on. The robotic vacuum cleaner is going to search. It's going to mark all of these as visited. And then once we find a potential match for every single individual character, what's going to happen is it's going to go back and, you guessed it, it's going to return true. And our algorithm is going to succeed and we are going to pass the interview. So let's go ahead, let's hop over into IntelliJ and let's code it. So we are inside of IntelliJ, and the first thing that I'm going to do is create a brand new class. And what this class is going to do is it's just going to hold our algorithm for us. And I'm going to call this solution. Within the solution class, what we're going to do is we're going to create two methods. The first method is going to be the method that LeetCode actually requires of us. It's the method that LeetCode pretty much searches for whenever it's trying to judge your algorithm. We're going to call it exist, and it's going to return a Boolean. Pretty easy. And just like on the whiteboard, you guessed it, we're going to create a nested for loop. And these nested for loops are run-of-the-mill. They're really easy to create, especially with IntelliJ. IntelliJ is pretty much going to do all of the work for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create an if statement that's going to house our depth-first search algorithm. Now, we haven't made the depth-first search algorithm yet, but let's just go ahead and create it, and we'll create the method here in a second. And we're going to pass in the actual board. We're going to pass in the word that we're looking for. We're going to start our index, which is going to search our word at 0, and the I and the J are going to be tasked with the traversal. And what we're going to do is, I need to get rid of that N. We're going to return true. Now, may not make a lot of sense right now, but don't worry, it's going to make a lot of sense here in a second. But let's just go ahead, finish out this method, and let's return false. So here's where things are going to get good. This is going to be where we're actually going to house our depth-first search algorithm. And IntelliJ is going to make a lot of the params for us. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a little bit more explicit. I don't know why they had this as K. It's definitely standard procedure to make it I and J. The I and the J are going to be tasked with the traversing the matrix, and I and J is typically what you use. You don't usually use K, so I don't know what's going on with the AI, but whatever, we changed it. So first things first, we're going to create our base cases. So if the index is equal to the word length, if we've done all of those traversals and our word length is equal to the index, it's true. We've got a 100% match. The next thing is that we have to make sure that the robotic vacuum cleaner is not going crazy and not going out of bounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to set constraints on I. We're going to make sure that it's not going over the individual rows. And then we're also going to make sure that it's not exceeding the individual columns. We'll say J is less than 0. And also, we're going to make sure that J is not exceeding the individual columns. So we'll say J is greater than or equal to board I.length. And let's see here. It looks like the AI is going to finish a lot of this for us. And we also need to check for character mismatch, which is this right here. We're going to reach inside the word. We've got our index and we're going to check it. And if it doesn't match, it's not what we want. So we're going to return false. And that's very important. This is hinging the whole entire algorithm because a lot of the algorithm is making sure that we're not traversing where we don't want to go. And that whole entire piece of logic right there is going to be in charge of that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set a temp. So this is unique to backtracking. Whenever we backtrack, we're going to go ahead, set a temp. Then what we're going to do is we're going to mark the visited place that we were just at with a hash symbol. You could also do that. You don't have to use a hash, but we're going to store the temp because after we get done recursing in the plain land, so to speak, we're going to have that temp there because we're going to have to replace. And if we don't save it, it's not going to be stored anywhere and we'll lose it forever. So this next part is the actual, what you would call like the meat. This is the meat and the potatoes of the actual depth-first search. This is what's going to be tasked with moving things down, up, right, and left, just like on the whiteboard. And this is going to look a little crazy, but just kind of follow with me here for a second. So first things first, you can do this any way that you want to, by the way, but we need to increment our index so that we move over to the next char. Then what we're going to do is we're going to move down. The way that you move down is you go to the row and you increment it by 1, and that moves you down. We keep J the same because that's the column. You can go to the side here if you want to and put columns that say down, but I'm just going to kind of tell you step by step which one it is, but that does help. The next thing is we're going to go up. So these are all going to be very similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to copy and paste these. So I'm going to paste this one down, and I'm going to leave the index +1 the same because we definitely want to move over to the next char. But this one's going to go up. So instead of +1, we're going to go -1, and -1 is going to move our row up. And double pipe, go ahead, bring this down right here. So I'm going to copy it. We're going to bring this down. And instead of it actually going down for the actual rows, what we're going to do is, here's where we're going to actually start manipulating the columns. So I is going to stay the same, but this time we're going to manipulate J because we're manipulating the columns instead of the rows. And the way that we manipulate columns is we manipulate J. So if we want to move right, we +1. And you guessed it, with DFS, we're going to go up, down, up, right, and left. So the only thing that we need to do now is we need to go left. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go double pipe and go ahead, paste that. We're going to be manipulating the column. So what we're going to do is we're going to -1 instead of +1. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead, let's go down. And what I'm going to do first is I am going to reset our temp. So I'm going to go back into here. I'm going to take the temp and we're going to mark it as unvisited, or we're going to change it back. We're going to restore it to the character it was before. And finally, it's not really that complicated of an algorithm. We're going to return found. And if we went through it, we tested all through that, we're going to find true or false. And if we find true, it's going to empty back out into our nested for loop back up here. And our algorithm is going to return true, or it's going to return false. So let's go ahead, let's grab all this right here, and let's paste it into LeetCode and see what we get. So I'm going to bring this over. Let's go ahead. I'm going to get rid of all of this. I'm going to go ahead, toss that into here. I'm going to bring that over. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead, smash that run button. Accepted. First go around. Today's my lucky day. Let's go ahead, hit that submit button. We're looking pretty good on time complexity. Time complexity on this one's never going to be good. And space complexity is not that bad, but it's still linear. Anyways, that's enough to pass. Enjoyed this. If you did, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. As always, thank you for watching.